Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Web3 Quick Bites podcast, the podcast where we jump to the latest bits in the decentralized world, exploring the far outreaches of digital reality and chatting with some of the brilliant minds in the industry. Last week, I shared my insights and tips on what is Web3 and why should marketers care. This week, we'll be discussing about the future of marketing, exploring the disruptive power of Web3. Joining me on the Web3 Quick Bite podcast today is Tamara, and I'm super thrilled to have her as a guest. But before we get started, let me give you listeners a background of who our guest is. So, our guest is a highly sought after marketing professional in France, emphasis on highly sought after. With a diverse background in the Web2 and Web3 industry, she has worked with some of the biggest brands and corporations. She has worked with some of the biggest brands and corporations, like I said earlier, and is well versed in the latest marketing trends and strategies. Currently, Tamara is the managing director of Fast Road, a leading Web3 consultancy and venture firm in France. In this role, she advises B2C corporations and brands on Web3 marketing strategy, identifying use cases, and assessing performance on Metaverse and NFT projects. I'm thrilled to have Tamara here today, and I can't wait for you all to learn from her expertise. So, hi, Tamara. Thanks for joining me on the podcast today. How are you doing?
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm really happy to be here. I'm good, and you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for asking. So, Tamara, like I mentioned earlier, my topic last week was sharing insights on Web3 marketing and why marketers should care about it. So, which brings me to the first question of the day for you. So, Tamara, as a seasoned Web3 marketing professional, how do you think marketers can leverage consumer marketing to generate awareness of a project to consumers, educate them, and bring into a community in Web3?
So, marketing is really a crucial component for any kind of project, but in the Web3, it's really important to leverage consumer marketing to generate awareness, especially during this bear market. It's important to educate consumers, and building a community around a project can seem really hard. And so I think the best way to do this is to build a really compelling brand story. Right now, people in Web3 are not looking to buy a product or a service. They want to be part of an experience, to be part of a larger movement. So at the really beginning, is to create or to tell a story, to be just more than a feature or just more to benefit, but really create an aspirational value to build a community around, and leverage social media to build this company, because as you know, right now, everything is on Twitter and on Discord. So you need to be connected there to just discuss with them, create some Twitter space and create collaboration. It's really what can help to educate consumers at the end. And of course, leverage influencer, use content marketing, stuff like we already did in the Web2 sphere, but which works as well in the Web3 ecosystem.
Yes, thank you for answering that question in details, Tamara. Because just like you said, community is like at the heart of Web3 basically, and community is highly instrumental to the growth and success of major Web3 projects, right? So I would also like to ask that you mentioned community. Community is one of the practices in Web3 marketing. So what would you say are some of the best practices for creating engaging content marketing in Web3?
So the NFT collection I love the most right now, and which is really trending, is the God. So it's a NFT PFP collection. So it's really specific. Community is important in NFT. It's important in Web3 in general. So also in Metaverse, also for blockchain or cryptocurrency exchange, by example. But yes, in NFT space, community is like everything. Like said Frank the God, sometimes everything is bullshit except community, and I really agree with him. And so starting community from zero to gain some followers, to try to attract some influencer or potential buyer and to have engaging member can be really hard, but you can have some tactics who can work really easily. The main things is, like I say, to create a story. If you have something to say, an original point of view, an original content, an original personality for the leader of the NFT community, it will be much easier to stand out face of the competition, and so to attract I don't know how to say that, maybe a little bit curiosity, and so people want to know more about you and about your project and will be curious to hear you during an NFT Twitter space. You can try to be invited by Twitter space hosts who already have an audience. Don't try to start from zero follower to build your own Twitter space. It can be really hard, but just build an other audience who are close to the one you are targeting with your NFT collections. And collaboration, partnerships is really something who works right now in the Web3. It's a go-to-market strategy, works well for every kind of Web3 project actually. There are a lot of NFT collections who are really successful, as well as metaverse experiences or cryptocurrency exchanges and so on. So the main thing is to try to connect with them, or ideally to already be part of this community before to launch your project or to have some connection with them, and just talk with them and try to build a collaborative communication campaign, because they already have an audience, but they are looking for new and fresh content that you can bring to them. And this kind of few key takeaway can help you to start to build a company from zero follower and to have something who can work and which the community you want to attract to build a better product and to sell your NFT or whatever you're trying to sell.
Wow, that was should I say comprehensive and detailed. Wow, thank you for answering that question. I answered it like the amazing professional that you are. Thank you. I feel so I'm actually curious about one thing, right? Because in Web2, right? Well, SEO is like one of the leading factors. Like if companies want to grow themselves on the search engine, people are like SEO. So now we're moving from Web2 to Web3. What role do you think SEO is going to play in Web3 marketing? And
I think,
how can it be optimized for success?
yeah, sorry. So I think that SEO is really important in Web2, can be important for some Web3 projects. I don't think is the main level for NFT collections, but which is interesting in SEO technique is that you try to grow organically. And the fact to grow organically is really important for the launch of NFT collections. So SEO, like we know the SEO for Google, like with the keyword, the href, how to optimize the landing page, stuff like that, the backlink, are not really useful for a Web3 project, except if you are building maybe a marketplace and you try to compete with people who want to sell their NFT or to try to find a way to, I don't know, we have a lot of tools right now like Perk Shop who are really interesting. You just connect your NFT collection with this tool and you can have some perks depending on the NFT you have. And if you are building tools for Web3, SEO is still important. If you are launching an NFT collection or an experience in Metaverse, not a Metaverse, SEO can be less interesting, but the tactic to grow organically that you have maybe already built when you were working on Web2 has always the same importance in the Web3 space, because it's really organic marketing first. And content is really the key in this way of building a community. So as content is really important in SEO, it's really interesting to see how it's continued to impact, as well as your visibility, but your engagement and the retention of your community, because we saw a lot of NFT collection who are really creative, who build a lot of content every day. And at the end, you see, it's because you see all this content that you want to be part of this community, that you want to have this NFT and that the NFT takes some value or maybe a lot of value. And so, So not SEO like we think for a landing page or Google SEO, but depending on the Web3 project, I insist. But for an NFT collection launch, for example, or to attract people on the experience you build on Metaverse, I don't think SEO is really important. But content and grow a community organically, yes.
Okay. Because I also like last year when I worked on a blog, I worked with a blockchain gaming company, and so most of our articles that I was writing, I was in charge of. It was actually highly important for us to drive traffic through SEO. So drive traffic to our media page, our website, and then from there we had to apply Web3 marketing practices from there. So what I think is, and I agree with what you said, is that at this early stage of Web3, we'll still need to apply some of Web2 marketing tactics to help us to push us forward, right? Because I know at a point there will probably be SEO for Web3. It might not be keywords and research and backlinks.
Exactly.
Yes, so I
think it's a new SEO Web3 version, but yes, I agree. It's not at all the same tactics, and it's really depend on the Web3 project, because if you work for NFT marketplace, SEO will be important. If you work like for Metaverse as Roblox, I don't know, it will be important. If I'm tomorrow launching a new NFT collection, I don't think SEO will be my main concern. Like you say, SEO with keyword, href, and stuff like that, But it depends on the Web3 project. SEO is still important, but maybe to be prioritized differently. And definitely, it's not the same tactic. When we talk about content creation right now, I'm a big fan of Twitter Space or podcast or webinar like you are organizing right now. And in SEO, like 10 years ago, it wasn't really a big thing, but it started to be big things in Web3. So I think it's just not the same button you push to activate SEO, but it's really interesting to see how it's evaluated with the Web3 marketing.
I'm actually curious. Like, I can't wait to see how it's going to evolve and how it's actually going to turn out. I'm curious to see. Okay, so you mentioned NFTs once or twice, and we've been into this question I'd like to ask is that how can Web3 marketing, especially Web3 marketing projects or Web3 projects, Web3 brands, how can they make use of NFTs and blockchain technology to create unique and engaging experiences for users? Because most people think NFTs are, most people think NFTs are just there. They're just there's something they can just download and then click and then they already have it. Sounds weird to them. Someone is spending like huge money to acquire these NFT ads and products. But so that's what I'm asking. Like, how do you think they can incorporate NFTs and blockchain technology to create unique and engaging experiences for users, and then try to change the narrative that surrounds NFTs right now, like the idea that people have about NFTs? How can Web3 marketing make use of NFTs, especially to create unique and engaging experience for users?
So I have two kind of answer. The first is that we saw a really rise of the utility connected to NFT. So of course, connect NFT to perks. Like if I have this NFT, I can have maybe this reduction on Amazon, or I don't know, just an example, on or for the next NFT collections they will send, like a loyalty membership program, stuff like that. Of course, you can use blockchain to enable user-generated content, which is the key in Web3. Web3 is really attracted Gen Z. When we say Web3, we talk about blockchain, we talk about cryptocurrency, NFT, Metaverse, so it's a lot of different things at the end. But it's really driving by the Gen Z. We don't see a lot of boomers in the Web3 space. And so Gen Z have this in particular, that they record everything, they film everything, they create content, they all have a YouTube channel, even if they just are teenager in high school. They are awesome because they are not scared about creating content and they want to be rewarded for this. So it's really something that blockchain, it's really solutions that blockchain offer right now, and that marketing should embrace, because what you want is to have clients who are basically fan to what you do, who are ambassadorship. So I think we can encourage through this kind of leverage the community to create and to be rewarded and to be recognized for this content generated. So it's not directly linked to a loyalty membership program, but it's something more like highlight the people who create content and encourage them to create this because you can have a proof of ownership right now and maybe a value to this content later. We can also leverage blockchain for transparency as well, which can be really interesting for some kind of services or product, depending on the industry you're working on. And yeah, so you can have a lot of perks, rewards, utility linked. But at the end, which is really interesting when we talk about Gen Z, and that when we compared this generation to previous generation, is that at some point, we consumed a lot of TV. So brands started to do advertising on the televisions. After that, we consume a lot of social networking. And so brands start to do collaborations with influencers who already have this kind of audience in these channels. And right now, Gen Z are all about gaming. But it's really hard for brands to develop a game. It takes 3-4 years. It's really, really long, take a lot of money, can be really complicated. So the best way to use gamification level right now in Web3 is Metaverse or through NFT because it's a community who basically embrace gaming at this instance. So at the end, you can link a lot of utility and be more than just a JPEG, but maybe depending on who you target, maybe people just want to buy JPEG because it's what they want to do, and maybe you don't need to have more than that.
Yeah. And it reminds me of the conversation I had with a listener last week after my first episode, and he said he was wondering that, okay, because I mentioned that at a point, but at a point when Web3 has gone mainstream, that users will be in charge of their data, because that's the idea behind the whole idea of Web3 decentralized. Everybody has ownership of their data. No more middleman, no Google, no Facebook in charge of our data anymore. So he now asked me a very important question, which I believe you have like the answer. Although I did answer him, but I just want to ask you again, in case he listens to this episode, that, okay, so we have ownership of our data, right? So how do you think marketers and advertisers, they can actually entice people to be able to get their data and be able to target their campaigns to what's how can I explain this?
I understand. I see your question.
Yeah, okay.
It's really interesting, this question, because data is really a key subject, a key topic for all marketer, whatever they are working on Web3 or Web2 spaces, because like Google, Microsoft, and Apple said, it's the end of the cookie in 1 year or stuff like that. So anyway, as marketer, we are losing connection with the data of all consumers. And I think Web3 rise, also, we talk a lot about NFT and Metaverse and speculative things, but the value of the Web3, like you said, is to have a control of our own data as consumer, as buyers. And I really think it's something that will be more and more important at the years to come for consumers, and it will be something really, really more important for brands and marketers as well, because they don't have the control of what kind of data they can collect and how they can analyze it. They depend of Google, they depend of HubSpot or stuff like that, you know. And it's why Web3 community is so interesting. When we talk about Web3, we can talk about Metaverse. In Metaverse, you have a lot of data, but it's not at all the same data that you can find on a website. It's what kind of interaction you have during your experience or during your game. Did you skip the dialogue? Did you click on this button? Did this jump? Did you talk to someone? How do you enjoy your experience to improve your experience and the fun you had, and not just to track you and to try to sell you something? And it's really interesting to see how it's built right now. And regarding NFT, you can have a lot of data when you do wallet analysis, but it's not having the gender, it's not having the age, it's not having the birth location, because at the end you don't need that as a marketer to talk with your consumers and to create interesting content for them. You just need to know what are their consumers' habits. So what did they have as other NFT in their wallet? Are they really active? Are they more active on some kind of blockchain? Are they on some DAO? Did they vote? Did they want to vote? Did they want to have some governance features? Did they play some play to earn game? If so, what it can mean for your NFT collection or for your brands who are acting in Web3 space? And it's a really another way to see data and to just think about what you need to improve your marketing. And I love the fact that Web3 is bringing this new challenging to every marketing, because with the end of the cookie, at the same time, the rise of the Web3, the rise of the consumers' concern regarding data exploitation, I think is a good moment to be interesting by the Web3 just for this answer to this specific data consumer issue.
And to also add, I think marketers and advertisers will also sit up and then they'll start creating content and campaigns that will be targeted at consumers. I mean, you now handle that, okay, this is our demographic, this is who we are targeting. So campaigns will be more targeted on like trying to say, okay, if we do this, it's probably reach this set of people. If we do this campaign, probably reach this set of people. So there's no probability anymore in Web3 marketing, which is quite the upgrade, though, if you ask me. It's quite the upgrade. So I would also like to ask that, talking about marketing campaigns, how do you think marketers can effectively measure the success of their Web3 marketing campaigns?
So it depends of your goals. Obviously, when a brand launch an action in Web3, the most of the time is to create brand awareness to attract a new kind of target like Gen Z, or to try to A/B test product, like we saw with Forever 21, which is a fashion brand who launched a bunch of experience on Roblox, mini games, and they sells digital items. And some of the items sells a lot more than some ELR product of them. So they were really impressed. And so they start to produce and commercialize in real life this product. They start to launch at the beginning just on Roblox. So it's really interesting to see how brands are using Web3 right now. So it depends of your goals. Is it brand awareness? Definitely the measure you will look at is the member in your community and the engagement, and maybe the earned media, because right now if you launch something on Metaverse or NFT and that you are a brand, you maybe can have PR really easily about it. So it's another way to have brand awareness too. So if your goal is brand awareness, I will see community numbers, earned media, engagement rate. If your goal is to target new kind of consumers, to engage with them more and maybe to transform them in ambassadors or stuff like that, you will try to see how many NFT you have sold or how many people enter in your experience in the metaverse, but you will also be curious to see the user-generated content. So it's not really Web3 metrics. It's a marketing metrics at the end, but it's going to be interesting to look at it too. And regarding other KPI, I think it will really depend of what you want to do. I don't think a lot of brands launch themselves in the Web3 to create a new source of revenue right now. They really try to connect with a new audience, with a new community, maybe to generate innovation and creativity with this community. So I think it's this kind of metrics that you have to look at.
Okay, now that's actually quite cool. And I'm also curious, really, because right now in Web2, we have traditional marketing, which is the billboards, radio ads, TV commercials. With the way technology is evolving now, especially with Web3, and do you think Web3 marketing is going to replace traditional marketing methods very soon, or in the near future, or it's just going to clear them all and then everybody will just move to Web3 marketing at the end of the day?
So I'm not sure, but I think that for some brands, it's already the case. Like I said, for some generation, it was all about TV, so we did a TV commercial. For another generation, it was all about social networks like Instagram, Facebook, and so on. So it was all about influencers, campaign marketing. And right now, it's all about gaming. So, a lot of partnership and collaboration between brands and gaming platforms. including Metaverse platform. A lot of brands are launching experience on Metaverse because they are trying to connect with this new gen, and it's Web3 because Metaverse is Web3 linked. For some NFT, yes, definitely, we saw that it's a new way to try to connect with a generation who don't go to the shop in real life right now, who love to shop online, but who can't connect with them on another level. So it just consumer, and you want to turn them into ambassadorship. So yes, right now, one of the best level I saw is Web3. It's to launch an NFT collection, to create a community with them, maybe give them some features of some right of governance around new creative projects you launch with your brands and these clients especially. But yes, I think Web3 marketing will replace for some brands really targeting Gen Z traditional method like billboard or TV commercial, or at least it will be more efficient. And I think the return on investment will be really more interesting. But it's really depend of what you want to sell and at who you want to sell your products. So it's really depend of your business at the end. But if you are like a fashion brand targeting Gen Z, definitely I will advise you to go on the Web3. It will cost you less than to create an influencer campaign marketing right now, or to go on TV for sure. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one funny thing is when I was doing my research, I've actually noticed that TV commercials and billboards, they've been able to stand the test of time. Because I mean they've been around for quite a while, and despite the digital marketing and now Web3 marketing, there are still quite a number of people that still want to put their ads on TV and radio and everything. But my theory is that as the world evolves, and then there will be less boomers and there will be less older millennials, and then we have the younger millennials, Gen Zs, and other demographics. I think TV commercials, radio commercials, billboards will now be less because more people are now more digitally inclined, and Web3 has gained that mainstream adoption, right? So I mean, yeah, TV and all those traditional methods, they've been around for quite a while. And I think why they are still existing is because we still have people who grew up with that, who grew up with TVs, who grew up with radios. Because I, for one, I do not watch TV a lot. And I know there are other people like me too. I spend most of my time on digital platforms and stuff. So that's the theory I have. But I might be wrong, I might be right. But I just,
That's all right. Yeah. It's a really interesting point of view. Yeah, I agree with some part of this. Definitely, it's dependent of the generations. It's dependent of the kind of product you sell and how much engagement is required, because it can be such difference if you're in the luxury industry or in the cars industry, or if you're selling toothbrush. I mean, the Web3 will not have the same impact for you, definitely. And yes, I agree with a lot of digital waves, and TV commercial are still there, and billboards still there. So I think it could be an evolution, and depending of who you target as a marketer and for who you work, Web3 can be prioritized or not. But right now, for a lot of marketer, I think we underestimated the power of a Web3 right now, because it's really different to measure KPI on a Web3 marketing campaign as on a Web2 campaign, because as you say, the data is really difficult to have. But I have this feeling that in Web3, you can have a really good impression on a community who will turn into fan really more quickly than on all over, marketing technique right now. So yeah, it can just the last thing I wanted to add regarding this question. But yes, I agree with you. It's a really interesting to see how everything will evolve in a few years.
We have quite interesting future ahead of us. I can't wait to experience it. So I would also like to ask you this, and it's something that I've actually been wondering about, and I saved the best question for the last. So are we going to see a day where every company has its own metaverse? And what does that mean for us as consumers when every company is the metaverse and everybody's in their room plugged with their headsets, and then everybody's in the metaverse socializing and everything? And if we want to get to buy buy anything from any brand, you have to go to the metaverse. Do you think that a time will come that we'll get to experience it and every company will be in the metaverse? And what do you think that means for consumers?
I think it could be fun to see that. Would be fun if every brand's gone the metaverse. Would be really interesting as a consumer to have this kind of shopping experience and engagement experience. I don't know if it will be the case one day. In my mind, I compare metaverse experience with websites. I think like a lot of brands, if it's not all brands have a website right now, they will have to develop an experience on the metaverse. But I don't know if they have to develop their own metaverse. I mean, we see that Roblox, Sandbox, Decentraland are already there. So maybe it's more interesting for them to just have a space in this kind of ecosystem more than develop their own ecosystem. It's like if a brand were developing its own social media. I mean, it's interesting for them to go on Instagram and to go on Facebook and to go on Pinterest, but it's maybe not interesting for the brand to develop their own Pinterest or their own Facebook or their own Instagram, you know? So to go on already existing metaverse, I think will be the most interesting choice to do for brands. So I think it will be more possible to see a lot of brands be on Decentraland and also on Sandbox more than developing their own. We saw a lot of big brands like Disney entering the game and developing their own metaverse. I don't know how it could succeed, to be honest, because right now, as an individual, I am on Instagram, on Pinterest, I am on TikTok, on Twitter, on Discord, on Telegram. I'm at the end on a lot of different social media. So why not be at the end on several different metaverse on a day, on a basic day? So maybe it can work. I don't know at all when we will see this and if we will see this case of having like a metaverse per brand, or if we will more likely see a lot of brands on different multiple kind of metaverse. But what's comes for the consumers is that it's a progress. It's an evolution for the consumer experience. You can shop by trying your virtual items, so it's less, risk for the brand of customer relationships go for the line because it's not the good size or it's not the good color, it's not the good shape. I don't know why. So maybe just to have this kind of experience, it's a better thing for consumers, even for just connect and to discover the brand universe, discover the value, the content. It's like having a website or not having a website, having a social media presence or not having it. It's a plus for your consumers at the end. So I think it's something we have to praise. But I'm not sure at all how the future will be based on if every company will have its own metaverse or not. And the application for the consumer are still unclear, to be honest, right now, because we are really at the beginning of at the early stage of the metaverse even. So
yeah. Well, like I said, it's quite that the interesting future we have ahead of us, and for one, I can't wait. I can't wait to see how it's all going to turn out. And then for the generation coming, I'm sure they will have a field day exploring different digital worlds, if I should put it that way. So before we go, I would just like you to actually a word of advice for someone who is listening to this and is looking to transition into Web3 marketing. I mean, from your own transition from Web2, from the wealth of experience you had in Web2, and then you made the transition to Web3. What advice do you have for someone who is listening to this and is also looking to transition into Web3 marketing?
So first of all, Web3 marketing is really about passion. So you need to be involved in Web3 space, to have some NFT, to be active on some Discord, to go on some Twitter space, to connect with people working on the Web3. It's really how it started for me. So I think it will be the first advice. The second one is right now the most hunting skills are community manager in the Web3 space. So if you are looking to have a job position in Web3 and don't know how to start, I will suggest to to go for community management in Web3, to try to have a moderator roles on some Discord, to try to learn some Discord bots, some Discord techniques, some Twitter space techniques, stuff like that, to have job opportunities more quickly in this Web3 space. And yes, just go for the fun, just go for the creativity, just connect with people, with other-minded like people. And I think you can use your Web2 skills in this environment, but you just have to adapt the way you think to the Web3 value, and it will be really hard if you are not into the Web3 space yourself.
Oh, no, great. Thanks for sharing that with us and our listeners. Okay, and that's a wrap for today's episode of Web3 Big Bites. Thank you so much to Tamara for sharing her insights and expertise on the future of Web3 marketing. And if you would like to connect with Tamara on LinkedIn, I will be sharing a LinkedIn profile in the podcast description so people can connect with you and then also ask any questions if they have any. And yeah, I'm sure you enjoy connecting with Tamara. She's really, 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 really awesome. With our LinkedIn post.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you. You are so nice. It was really a pleasure to have you at IBC. I really love to talk to you, and you have really great ideas. I encourage everyone to connect with you too and to go on this podcast. It was really fun for me.
Thank you so much, Tamara. If you have any questions or feedback on today's episode, don't hesitate to reach out to me on my social media platforms or by email at web3quickbites@gmail.com. Thanks again to Tamara for joining us today, and thank you to our listeners for tuning in. I'll be back next week with more exciting content, so be sure to subscribe and tune in.